Hello everybody and welcome to day 3 of competition at the 2015 Reebok CrossFit Games. I'm your host, Pat Sherwood, joined by Caity Henniger, and you see people sprinting their butts over to the beer garden, and here is why. If you have a reserved ticket, you want to go to the beer garden in Vendor Village between 8 and 11:30 a.m. Don't forget, you want to be in your seat by 6:30 p.m. after individual event 9, the clean and jerk, to catch the final event of the day. After that, anything goes. Open seats can be claimed by anyone, so make sure you get what is yours to enjoy the day. I mean, Caity, what we saw yesterday, we chatted, was potentially the most grueling day of competition, single day of competition in games history. You've had a day to kind of let that marinate. You still feel the same way?
Yeah, I think just watching those athletes, and I think we were talking about, they looked almost human. They just looked really beat up at the end of the night, but you know what? That's why they're here, right? They're here because they proved they can do the volume. They went home, took care of themselves tonight. Who's going to show up this morning?
And these are all the best of the best. There's probably a lot of people that, if your affiliate sends someone to the games, you probably haven't seen that guy or girl lose a workout in as long as you've been there. And then you see them come here and you're like, oh, wow, I didn't know that was possible. So yeah, these guys were really put through a beating. And let's see the numbers of actually what happened yesterday, and using someone who's relatively fit. Here's what Matt Fraser did yesterday. All in a day's work for Mr. Fraser. Ran 2 miles, did 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats, and then moved over 31,000 pounds of weight. I mean, for the love of God, these guys, hopefully they had a good sleep last night and they're going to come right back in. A full day of competition awaits these guys, and to help you understand what's going on with the schedule and how the leaderboard has shifted, here's Tommy Marquez.
Thanks, Pat. Another full day of individual and team events on tap, starting inside the soccer stadium. At 9 a.m., the teams will take on events 7 and 8, the 1-rep max clean and jerk. Then at 10:15, team events 9 and 10, the chipper. The male trio will attack that workout, followed by the female trio. Then at 12:10, team event 11, the Big Bob drag race. They'll go 150 yards down and back for that event. Then at 1 o'clock, the individuals take the field for the sprint course, events 6 and 7. Number 6 will be on the way down. Then they'll attack the course in reverse for number 7. At 2 p.m., event number 8, the soccer chipper. That will close out the events for the soccer stadium for the day. Then we'll head over to the tennis stadium at 4:50 for men and women event number 9. They'll hit the 1-rep max clean and jerk. And then once again at 6:45, we have another to-be-announced workout. So we'll have to wait and see what Dave Castro has for us to close out Saturday on the individual side. Now let's take a look at how the leaderboard shook out for the men heading in from Friday and now into Saturday. And there was quite some mix-ups after a few brutal events. Janikowski started out the day in first overall, but in the end, heading into today, Matt Fraser sits in first now, followed up by Ben Smith, who made a charge yesterday, up into second. Koski, who was the leader on Friday, now sits in third place overall, followed by his fellow European Bjorkman Gudmundsson. And then Noah Olsen, after a bad event to start, makes a charge to the end of the day, especially with an impressive performance in DT to move himself into the top 5. There's sure to be a lot more shakeups on this leaderboard when everything is said and done on Saturday.
Some men had a fantastic second day of competition, climbing back up the leaderboard. Scott Panchik, I mean, come on, change of 22 spots from day 1 to day 2. Now he finds himself in the top 10. Ben Smith moves 16 places in one day, from 18th to 2nd. And then Noah Olsen, been a lot of talk about him having a great second year, and he's proving it. He moved 9 spots and finds himself in 5th overall. We've been saying it the whole time. If you're at the games, I mean, you'd want to watch the events, but if for some crazy reason you don't want to, there's so much you can do that doesn't involve the events and have an absolute blast. You need to go to Vendor Village. It's bigger and it's better every single year. And here's a schedule of just start to finish. I don't care what you like, from gymnastics to football to true form, weightlifting. We have everything you need. There's tons of places to get food, jumbotrons everywhere. You'll have a blast. Athletes are not the only ones that worked very hard to get here to Carson, California. Fans from all over the world made it happen, and Kyla Banfield caught up with them in Vendor Village.
It's no secret people travel from far and wide to get to the CrossFit Games, but we wanted to find out just how far they're traveling and where they're traveling from. Let's go find some people. Hey guys, how's it going? Hey. Where are we from? Boston. So where are you guys from?
Oh, we're from Iceland.
We're from Calgary, Canada.
I'm from Mexico.
I'm Wangaratta, Victoria, Australia.
Ukraine.
Wow, Ukraine.
We're from Sherwood, CrossFit in the Cook Islands.
Canada! Woo! Australia, mate!
I'm from Paris.
Malaysia.
Singapore.
Malaysia. Indonesia.
I'm from Oahu, Honolulu. And I am from Oahu, Kailua.
I'm from Cancun, Mexico.
And how long did it take you to travel to the CrossFit Games?
Like 4 hours and a half. Just airplane.
And how did you travel to Carson?
Ran.
I walked.
Yeah, took 2 flights, 3 hours to Brisbane, and another 13 hours here to LA.
Bali to Jakarta, Jakarta to Melbourne, Melbourne to LA, Houston, then back to LA, and now I'm here.
So how many hours of travel do you think you all spent to get here?
About 34 hours.
Oh, we're just down the road, so not far.
How long did it take you to travel to Carson? Well, it should have taken us 5 hours in the plane, but our plane was delayed by 10 hours, so it was a very, very long day. How were your legs after the run to Carson?
Yeah, I'm pretty unfit, so I'm very sore. But Ricky's got smaller legs than me, so they got even more sore.
As CrossFitters, we are willing to endure almost anything. A hard workout, a long plane ride with jet lag, or 2 days drive in the car. But at the end of the day, things like that are always worth it when it means you get to be right here at the CrossFit Games.
As Kayla is wandering around Vendor Village, we have Justin Judkins wandering around the athlete warm-up area, and he caught up with 7th place team CrossFit Grandview.
Hi guys, I'm here with CrossFit Grandview from Columbus, Ohio, and Joey, you guys are sitting in 7th place.
Yep.
What's key to helping you get to that point so far?
We had a big event with the relay run. We all knew going into that we could do well. I think we all went just about under 6 minutes on that. We're strong runners. That was big for us coming off the beach event where we didn't do so well. We're not good in the water.
Okay, well, no more water today, but how do your strengths and weaknesses line up with what's on tap for you today?
We're not just good at running, we're pretty good at lifting as well. We have a couple members here who are going to go over 200 pounds as females, and all our guys are going to go over 3 as well in the clean and jerk. So we're looking forward to it.
Right on, and what did your coach tell you this morning? What advice did he or she give you?
He just told us to run our race, do what we do best. Don't try and strive for something that's not there. Just be patient and do what you can do.
One last question. What's it going to take for you guys to get onto the podium this year?
A lot of hard work. That's all these events are about, is just grinding through that. And we've been training at Westside Barbell with Louis Simmons all year, and we're bulletproof now. We're ready to go.
All right, bulletproof CrossFit Grandview. There you go. Back to you, Pat.
CrossFit Grandview hoping to have a very big day. We'll kind of get to the team competition here in a second, but the individuals, I mean, they have a heck of a day ahead of them, and somebody shall remain nameless, but I caught up with an individual athlete last night in the grocery store. I'm like, hey, how are you feeling? They're like, honestly, I can barely lift my arms over my head. And now we look at 5 events today. I mean, how are they going to get through that?
Well, I think there was a ton of movement yesterday on the leaderboard. You saw with Panchik and Smith and Olsen. I think that you're going to see other athletes start to climb as well. They're going to have, I look for Dan Bailey to do well in the sprint ladder. I look for him to climb back up. So it's a day to make moves.
I think they've layered these workouts fairly well. They start off the day with a couple of sprints there to kind of loosen them up. Then they, go into the soccer chipper. So they got a couple of rope climbs, some almost like deadlifts with the pig, and then some handstand walk. Nothing too crazy that they can't handle. And then we still have to figure out what happens in the tennis stadium after the clean and jerk. But I think today is a little bit more balanced and not just a beat down like yesterday was.
And if the athletes need a little bit of motivation, especially, you mentioned Dan Bailey. As I walked in this morning at about 6 a.m., there was actually a young lady waiting outside the locked gate to get in with a Dan Bailey jersey on. So the fans are fired up to see you have a great day as well. After 5 events down, your men's leaderboard shakes out with Matt Fraser decisively in the lead with 426 points. Ben Smith clawed his way back into 2nd place, the 7-time Games veteran. And Janikowski remains in the top 3, followed by Goodmanson and Olsen. but Matt Fraser had an absolutely incredible first 2 days of competition, and I think he is setting himself up to just coast.
Well, I think, he's had all the hype coming into this. Is he going to win this event? And he looks like to have a good handle on that. But yesterday, top 3 in all 3 events. And I think the Murph finish, second place on Murph, really stands out to me. I think after that, we all kind of looked at each other and were like, what is going on here? But very consistent across the board. I think he set himself up for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, 4 straight top 3 finishes on top of yesterday. He has an 88-point lead over second place Ben Smith. I really can't remember anyone, even Rich included, dominating this early into a competition. Rich usually kind of waits till Saturday, hangs around the top 3, and then makes a push going into the final day. But I got to say it, even if Rich were here right now, I think Matt would be beating him. It'd be close, but I think Matt would be beating him if Rich were in the competition right now.
Bold statements, Tommy. Bold statements.
I think if Froning's asleep, he just shot out of bed as soon as he heard that. He's so incredibly competitive.
Sorry, Rich.
Everyone here wants to get onto the podium, so we crunched some numbers to see what are the odds of you getting on as you approach the third day of competition. And as you can see, obviously, it pays to be a winner, pays to be there in the top 5. Your chances are roughly 50%, and the odds drop dramatically as every 5 places go down. And if you find yourself above 16th, literally at 0. Now, that just means it historically hasn't happened thus far, but we might have some athletes this year making history. But, what else can we learn from kind of analyzing that leaderboard?
I mean, like you said, nobody's done it from outside the top 15, but that's what they call it, making history. We see time and time again, we set these standards for our athletes, and they just blow the doors off of that. We beef up workouts, we extend time frames for them, and it doesn't matter what, they step up to the challenge. So I think someone can actually do it this year.
And, Bjorgvin Gudmundsson needed to have, a good couple of days, but he needs to have a big day 3.
He did have a good couple of days, and he came out and he won Murph. I think he came out here a month early, got acclimated to the weather, and he competed on the CrossFit Invitational Europe team and got some more experience. And I think that really helped him improve on last year's performance, but he didn't finish the night well last night. I think he has to come in here in the morning and do well in the sprint.
And there was someone all through the Open and regionals, actually. I got to give you credit. You mentioned his name. That's Alex Anderson.
Yeah, he's in 6th place overall and having a fantastic start to the weekend. He's showing how consistency without top finishes can bring success over time. His highest finish has been 8th so far, but his lowest is 19th. On top of that, he's got a 2 13ths and a 12th. Very middle of the pack, but staying consistent. And this is kind of his MO from regionals. He never won an event in regionals. He was only in the top 5 once, but everything was inside the top 15. And when everybody else is bouncing around, seesawing, kind of riding that wave of emotion, he's steady right down the middle, and he prides himself in that. We talked to him in athlete interviews. He says he's consistent. He doesn't excel in anything, and that's how you do well at the CrossFit Games.
Now, no one is going to be shocked if Matt Fraser has a good day, right? So who should we be looking to for a nice surprise?
For me, it's Cole Sager. He's sitting in 11th place. He's only 2 points out of 10th. He's a former collegiate football player at the University of Washington, and I think starting out today, he should do very well in the sprint. I don't think he's going to have a problem with the weight on the pig and the chipper, and I think he's going to come back in and he's going to do very well on the clean and jerk today. So I look for him to make some moves.
And you've got a bit of an international flair.
Yeah, for me, it's Tyson Takasaki. He's in 7th place right now. I think he's going to hold on and stay inside the top 10. This is his 3rd year as an individual at the CrossFit Games. Absent of a 25th in the pier paddle, he stayed solid across the board. He should do well in the sprint course. He was a wide receiver for the University of Manitoba, so the running and jumping isn't foreign to him. He has the 345-pound clean and jerk, so if he can hold on during the sprint, the soccer chipper, I think he'll do just fine in the clean and jerk and set himself up nicely for whatever Dave Castro has in store at night.
And Fraser didn't win the snatch ladder, so it's not, who's to say he's not going to win the clean and jerk as well. The women had an incredible 2 days of competition as well, and after 5 events, Sarah Sigmundsdottir, the rookie, finds herself in the lead by 40 points. Cara Webb, who had some events that really she struggled with yesterday, but somehow maintained a top 3 position. She's in 2nd, and then David's daughter rounds out the top 3. But I'll tell you what, you talk about international athletes just doing incredible. We've got 3 daughters in the top 10.
And a rookie sitting on top of the leaderboard. I'm not sure at this point in the competition what else we can say about Sarah Sigmundsdottir. She is dominating 5 top 10 finishes. And what stands out to me is after that brutal day yesterday, came in at the end, a heavy DT, and she wins that event going into this morning. Has to have a ton of confidence. I think she's doing great for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, and another daughter that maybe we didn't necessarily think was going to be in the top 3 at this point, Katrin David's daughter. She's had a fantastic game so far. I mean, what a tremendous bounce back year after not qualifying last year and missing out on the games. You know, she's really kind of struck when the iron is hot. So far, she dropped back-to-back second place finishes to close out the day after kind of hanging around the top 15 to start the competition. You know, she's poised to have her best year so far, and it's really exciting to see. She's never finished above 24th at the games, and it just goes to show you how, even though you miss out one year, you can come back and have a strong year the following.
And after not making the games last year, Katrin really buckled down, found herself a great coach, and her coach, Ben Bergeron, is also working hard at the games.
That's really close. I think that there is some strategy to it. You know, swim, paddle, no strategy, right? Just go around there as fast as you can, paddle as fast as you can. This one, because it's how you load it, how you bring them down, you bring in more trips, less trips, bigger, carrying more, carrying less, trying to go faster. I think there's a fair amount of strategy. Trying to give the athletes a strategy that they feel confident in. A bad plan that they feel confident in is better than a good plan that they don't feel confident in. So make them feel confident when they go on the floor. I think I used to get more nervous. Having said, I still do get nervous, but not like I used to. I used to coach my wife, and that was hard. I would get very nervous for that. It's easier to be on the floor competing than it is coaching, because you have control when you're competing. That's why coaches coach, because that's the victory. It's the reason that these guys compete, is because they want to achieve, you know, their highest potential. They want to feel victory. They want that adrenaline rush, and it's the same thing from the coach. We get I get every bit that feeling. You know, I used to compete, and I feel like the same adrenaline rushes that I do when I have athletes going through it. That's the reason we do this. It's awesome. Yeah. I think slow is smooth and smooth is fast. No fumbles, no misses. So you move with purpose the whole way through. And then when it's time to start walking it up there, then it's make it hurt. Make it use fitness. Be spilled out on the floor afterwards. Make sure that you've used up every ounce of energy to make that happen. It's going to be too easy to take your foot off the gas pedal. That's where you're different than everybody else. You hammer it, okay? Take extra steps where you take extra steps. Legs burn, lungs burn, it's a good thing. That's what you want. It means you're doing it right, okay? All right, good.
It's pretty simple. Do some grunt work and move sandbags from one end of the stadium to the other. 8 total bags weighing a total of 480 pounds.
Just start throwing them over.
David's daughter now has left Boone and Goodman behind it. Katrin David's daughter sizing up that wall. She will be up and over.
Very impressive for David's daughter to be that close. Really seeing a big difference in her already in just the second event here.
Katrin David's daughter, a few more steps to go. And the woman from Iceland is done.
Katrin finds herself in 3rd place, poised well. She's got a strong community behind her, and hopefully she remains high at the top. But we are lucky right now to have Christy Atkins, 6 times games competitor, joining us at desk. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
You've been around quite some time in the community. We threw down together actually all the way back in 2009 in the dirt at Aromas at the ranch. So you've seen everything from there to what's unfolding behind us.
Yeah.
What's your perspective on that evolution?
The evolution of the game since 2009 has been absolutely incredible. Access to CrossFit seminars, specialty coaches, our partnership with Reebok, being on ESPN, those things have all played a role. But I also think the access to each other as athletes and being able to see what everyone can do and what's possible has just driven up the level of competition and what it takes to be here and perform.
Yeah, we've talked about, we've all been around a long time, right? But when you first started, there really wasn't the Instagram and Twitter wasn't as popular. So How did you guys share workouts and post things back in the day?
Stone Ages.
Back in my day, before Instagram was even invented, is when I started CrossFit. It was, hey, this is my Fran time. Here's a video of it. Can you beat it? And so from the beginning, we've been putting those videos out there. And by we, I speak for the CrossFit community, and
Right.
And so now it's just we get that information even faster, and we can share it a bunch of ways. And so it's really exciting.
Now, not to bring up anything painful, but you didn't qualify this year for the games for the first time in quite some time, and that was obviously heartbreaking. A lot of us understand what it's like to be physically wrecked from a workout, but a lot of us don't understand the emotional side that the elite athletes go through. There's a lot of athletes right now at the games that aren't occupying a spot on the leaderboard that they want to.
Yeah.
So what would be your advice to them with 2 days of competition remaining?
You have to put this in perspective. We are actually at the halfway point of the CrossFit Games. So people like you on the update show like to draw conclusions based on these first 5 events, Pat.
That's what I'm good at.
But there's a lot left in the weekend. So the most successful are going to be those who can shed the emotional weight from days 1 and 2, and then just do work today, one event at a time. And Annie Thorsdottir is a great example of that. Last year, middle of the pack at this point, but she came back and she ended up on the podium at the end of the weekend.
It's not over till it's over.
That's right.
You know how all these athletes are feeling down in the stadium, but this year you get to experience it as a spectator. What has really stuck out the most to you?
You can really appreciate as a spectator the incredible feats of strength and athleticism that you're seeing in a lot more of an appreciative perspective as a spectator instead of a fellow competitor. One that sticks out from yesterday was Michelle Letton finishing the snatch ladder. She had 5th place locked up. She didn't have to hit that 175, but the camera pans in on her. You see this huge smile come across her face, and she just looks up. And so I'm thinking to myself, she's drawing on her training year and thinking this is the culmination of that. Let's celebrate it and hit that lift for herself and for the crowd. And that was just beautiful. She went on to hit that one and the 180, finished it. She didn't have to, and you might think from a gaming perspective, oh, save yourself, but that's not what it's about. So
now you're enjoying yourself as a spectator, you said, but are we going to see you hitting the training again, throwing your hat back in the ring, trying to claw your way back here next year?
Oh yeah. I'm stepping up my game already. I already have some new training plans, and I evolve with the sport every year, and this is just one more step in that evolution.
You just moved out here recently. A short stay or a long stay?
I did. This is going to be here for training for a couple months, and then I'll be heading back to the East Coast.
Well, we 100% wish you luck with your training. We want to see you here again, throwing down with all these crazy athletes and getting to play on this incredible gear that you can see in the background that Rogue makes. So let's kind of get to know a little bit more about this company that seems like they can build just about anything.
I mean, this whole games week and really the whole event season, it's huge for us at Rogue. And but this is obviously the culmination. This is the major event. Zeus is the biggest build we've ever done at Rogue. It's 20 feet tall and just a massive amount of steel with all the pull-up bars in there. There's 126 pull-up bars spanning the length of the rig. For the games, it's kind of a year-long. It kind of evolves. While we're here, we're thinking, oh, well, we could do this for next year, or we could tweak this and make it better for next year. And I think that's always an ongoing process, and you always have a bank of items that you can pull from. We want to put out there the best possible piece of equipment that we can and the best package of equipment, On the past years, I think that the way that the games has evolved, so have we for equipment purposes, And I think obviously as the games grow and as it gets bigger, the equipment has to get bigger and it has to be, more functional, and some of the surprise items have to be, grander and things like that. We have about 45 Rogue employees out here, plus 50 to 100 volunteers, depending on the day, and depending on what we needed to get done. But we couldn't do it without the volunteers, and we couldn't do it without our employees just pulling some crazy amount of hours once we get on the ground out here. Definitely expect it to be better, but we haven't even started this year, and it's already better than last.
So I assume free shipping on the Zeus rig to any affiliate?
Free shipping. That rig shipped on 4 semi-trailers itself. It took us 2 days to put up, but it looks amazing, and the competitors, it's all for the competitors, so the gear's got to stand up to them.
We're going to get to see them play on it in just a little bit, and everyone wants to see those super teams get onto some of this gear and see what they can do on the third day of competition. Here's their standings currently. NorCal CrossFit living up to the hype, first place, followed by Invictus, Ute, and then Mayhem taking 11th. But you heard Christy a second ago. There's 2 days of competition left. Nothing's out of the question. Tommy, can Mayhem still podium?
100% they can podium. Right now they're in 11th place, but if you look at the point spread, they're only 41 points out of third place. It's Saturday. There are a ton of points at stake for them, and here's what needs to happen. They had a couple struggles yesterday, a little seesaw back and forth in some of those synchro events. The women need to do damage control in the soccer chipper. They're fully capable of doing just enough to get by on this workout, maybe top 15. Then the men need to take an opportunity and win the clean and jerk, and then do their best to try and win that soccer chipper, because it requires a little bit of skill, it requires some strength in the wall balls, some endurance there, and they have what it takes to do that. And I think if they can kind of tie that all together and kind of stick to their game plan, I think they'll be 5th, 6th, just in position to kind of make a charge on Sunday.
Well, 2 days down, 6 events have been completed. The overall leaderboard for the teams moving into day 3. NorCal in the lead, Milford holding on to second place, Invictus rounding out the top 3, and 12 Labors, don't discount them, there in 4th place. A lot of teams need to have a big day. Tommy, who could be one of them?
Ute CrossFit. I think they'll be top 5 for the men in the clean and jerk, but I think that'll kind of catapult them.
All right. Hey, a lot of competition happening today. 5 events for individuals, 5 events for team. Enjoy the competition. Join us back here at the desk.